Hey Emily, can you check the attic and see if we forgot anything?
Yeah, sure, I'll check. Oh, what's this? Hey, look, this is my mom's name. There are more letters, too. December 23rd, 1925?
My dear child Ruth, I am writing you this letter because my time is running out. Although you are only a child, I have high hopes for your future. I'm going to miss walking you down the aisle on your wedding day. Oh dear, I can hear the bells already. I hope the wealthy fellow you wed is full to the brim with money and will provide for your family. Let him be the guiding force of your life. I refuse to have you marry a peasant. My grandchildren need to be provided for and spoiled. It's not a lady's place to lift even a finger, and I will not allow it in the name of this household. I am more than assured that you will make an amazing cook and wife. In my final days, I've taken up books, a simple but stimulating pastime. I remember reading a book, which I believe was called The Great Gatsby, and it said the best thing a girl can be is a beautiful fool. Oh, that Daisy was a lovely girl and a great wife. Hopefully you'll just be like her. Tom was sure lucky to have her. Never forget, as a wife, you should be dutiful to your husband. I remember when Harold and I had problems, it was my fault. Sometimes women can be that way, you know? Snappy, catty. You should always keep a calm voice and have a positive attitude when talking to your husband. Be a dear sweetie, and when he comes home, make sure that dinner is ready and have the radio on, and make sure that he has everything he needs to get recovered from a hard day's work. The house should always remain clean and his clothes starched, on time, never late. You will be a wonderful mother, staying at home, cooking, cleaning, knitting. It's very fulfilling. Don't burden yourself with education or even a career. I want to warn you of those unholy, loose women they call flappers. No woman should fall for the sexual allure of such a demon-led life. With their dresses and eyeshadow, they are bound to never find a husband. Men do not want someone so morally loose. No daughter of mine will grow up who will be so scantily clad. Growing up, women didn't have much of a say in politics, but with the passing of the 19th Amendment, women are now more involved than ever. Other people may see it as liberation, but I feel it is conflicting for me, for I fear the separation of unity within a marriage if a woman opposes her husband. It's a man's place to vote for his entire household. I hope you don't get involved with all these protests about women's rights. They just want to rid the world of men, although our duty is to support them. When you dream of the future, think of your wonderful husband and kids. Heaps of love, Mother.
My dear child Barbara. Isn't that my great-grandmother? 1950?
Wake up, little Susie, wake up. Wake up, little Susie, wake up.
My dear child Barbara. When I was young, my mother became gravely ill with a terrible sickness and passed not too long after. She decided to write me a letter in the short time she had left so that I could read it when I was older. In this letter, she documented her life experiences as well as her hopes for my future and that of other women. My mother advised me to find a husband and focus on creating a large, happy family. I am sad to say that I was unsuccessful. I never married, yet I became pregnant at 28 years old. The man who I thought would be by my side through the pregnancy, birth, and rest of the baby's life left me. I was alone. People criticized me for being a pregnant woman without a husband so much that I eventually turned to a refuge for single mothers, or a maternity home. There, I was surrounded by women in the same situation as me, and I was free from the ridicule of others. After you were born, I was pressured to give you up for adoption, but every time I looked at you, I knew that I could never do such a thing. I learned quickly how difficult it is to raise a child with no one else to support you. In addition to the negative comments and criticism I faced for being a single mother, I must also worry about providing for our small little family. It is very costly to own a home, buy food from the supermarket, or pay taxes in this country, but paying for each of these things is overbearing. Since I am a single mother and am unemployed, I benefit from the Aid to Families with Dependent Children grant program. It pains me to say that I cannot provide for you on my own, but it is the truth. Maybe you will do what I should have done and listen to your mother when she tells you to find a husband that can support you. My lack of money is not all my own fault, though. There was a Great Depression in America in the 1930s. I was young when the Depression began, but I remember some parts of it vividly. Girls I knew from school told me how their fathers would cry at night and how they would not receive any presents or new clothes on their birthdays. One night, I remember waking up to my father's sobs. He had always been a happy and even funny man, but the Depression changed him. He was angry during the day and sad at night. I hope that you never see me like this and that you never have to experience such a time of widespread poverty and unemployment like the Depression. The best way to avoid this hardship is to find a husband and start a family of your own as soon as you can. After high school, I want you to focus on this so that you and those you love are always provided for. If you decide to pursue a higher education, I hope that you do not become distracted by your studies. Learning is important, but my heart aches for your future. I do not want you to go through what I went through. Please be the daughter my mother wanted me to be and make me proud. With all my love, Mother.
Hey, look, there's one more. This one's from 1972.
To my future niece, I will start this letter, a cliche but core family tradition, by saying how honored I am to be your aunt. I will support you throughout all the hurdles and roller coaster emotions in life. My sister, who is your mother, writing that is surreal, has waited for this moment ever since she received your own letter. There's something so special about the birth of a child that brings joy, but I have to admit there is much fear when I think about the world a person lives in. The world will never be perfect, and humans will never be perfect, but I do not think there's a better time in history for the fight for rights. The government is slowly evolving and is attempting to make life, liberty, and happiness accessible to all. When the Supreme Court handed down its opinion in Reed v. Reed in November of 1971, the decision made headlines across the country, and the court has struck down a state law on the ground that it discriminated against women in violation of the Equal Protection Clause. I'm mentioning key current events so that you fully understand the enriching environment that surrounds you. When people are used to a certain standard or idea, they no longer value it in the same way. I do not want you to take advantage of the progress that has been made in history, but remember to never settle for a complacent outlook on your future. I keep singing that Cinderella song to you. A dream is a wish your heart makes, while you rest in the comfort of your mother's belly. Of course, flying birds will not make your bed, and you'll have to make your own, something I of course always did. I'm perfect. But realistically, I want you to remember these lyrics. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true. Life is like a movie, and you'll always have a happy ending. And if I said that, I would be a terrible aunt. However, I believe that you must attempt to find joy in the journey, and I do not wish your life to be free from obstacles. I only hope that you are given the strength to overcome them. Since you're related to me, I know you will have the strength that we should move past from. Stability, which is a huge goal in one's life, can no longer be largely dependent on a one-person income, as much as it did in the ancient days of the 1920s. Women were expected to remain in the home and raise children, which was work, but not a career. A college education provides a higher probability of an economically stable future and occupation. Now it's time to talk about education, the best part of any adult to youth lecture. Most of the Ivy League universities have just increasingly begun to admit women into their schools. My dream for you is to be admitted into one of these with more ease than I could have ever been able to. I know that is my calling to practice medicine, and who knows, by the time you read this, maybe I'm a physician, an alumnus of Yale School of Medicine. Or you could be too. In the past year, Title IX was passed and forbade sex discrimination in any educational program that received federal financial assistance. I put my trust into this amendment, knowing that it will have a dramatic effect on leveling the playing field in girls' athletics. Your mother yells for me whenever your legs begin to move a lot so that I can witness it, and I am astonished at how powerful your kicks are. If you ever choose to become a track or soccer star, at least I rest in peace, knowing that athletic scholarships are real, tangible possibilities that girls are able to grasp for themselves in the age that you live live in. When the words "I can't" consume your mind, tell the world this: you can't order me to stop dreaming.
Hey, this letter is for me. 16 years ago.
My lovely baby girl, you're just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It is late night as I write this, and I finally gotten you to sleep. You just look so precious, I can't help but steal frequent glances at you. I have so much hope for you. I don't know who you will be, but I overflow with anticipation. Right now you are 8 months, and I am 34. There was a time when I would have been considered much too old to be a new mother. However, in these modern times, it is so important for a woman in her 20s to embrace their independence. When I graduated high school, I had a life I needed to live on my own. Suburbia and white picket fences couldn't be more repulsive to me. A couple of years ago, I participated in a study by Dori Malter, a woman CEO looking to understand how the American dream has changed for women. When she communicated her final findings to me, something she said stood out. Many women believe that the health of our bodies and spirits alike are more important than a happy marriage, than having children, than a well-paying career. I couldn't agree more. Despite my grandmother urging me to find my Prince Charming, and my mother pushing me to study medicine at Yale, I was determined to find myself after high school. Happiness just wasn't a husband and child at the time, and I knew the vigor of an Ivy League would be far too much for my mental health. So I decided to pack up and venture out on my own. I found a little college in New York where I studied literature and Romance languages. What I am trying to get you to understand, Emily, is that ultimately your life is yours. I refuse to write your future out for you as the matriarchs of our family tried to do for me. I feel as if there has been a great shift in society, from too little being expected of women to entirely too much. We're supposed to be 4 women in one: a career woman, a socialite, a mother, an attentive wife. Do you know what I think the American dream should be? Freedom. After all, this is the land of the free. Societal expectation throughout the generations has been bondage and limitation. Therefore, I don't want you to defer to anyone else's opinion, not even my own. I never want the idea of disappointing me to burden your heart. By no means am I saying that it will be easy, but Emily, you can be whoever you want to be. Perhaps you will marry one day, but only if that is what your heart desires. You can even marry a woman if that's what you want, since that became legal last June. You don't need to have children while you're young, or even at all. In fact, waiting has become more and more common. A New York Times article I read recently says college-educated women here in Brooklyn are having babies at about 31, just a couple years younger than me. I want you to find a job, doing something you love. If you ever get a degree, remember the importance of pacing yourself. Spend a long time contemplating life before you settle. Ask yourself, what is the meaning of all this? Who am I? Who do I want to become? If your grandmother read this, she'd probably say I'm too much of an idealist. But Emily, I only hope for your happiness. I need you to grow up believing in yourself. This world may be cruel to you at times, and you must never forget how special you are. Love, Mama.
Would you guys get on the physics test?
Are you taking everything?
Me? I need it.
Hey guys, remember the AP Lang video essay project?
Oh yeah, we don't have an idea yet.
Well, I think I have an idea.